the only place that a cart path brought us up to that was flat. Well, here we go, everybody. Part 3 of finding the mine. I went back home yesterday and went through all the material I had to work with again. And here are my thoughts on what we learned the last 2 videos and why we're going back to where we are going today. Points of interest from yesterday's video. The first thing we had come across was that wall, that small little square pasture. Well, I came back this morning and followed all 4 sides, and it's completely isolated on its own. It is not connected to either of the 2 farms further down that way. Which does make me think that if there was some type of operation up here, mining, that you would need livestock to pull carts, move rocks, whatever. And that cart path, that's the second thing. The cart path that took us to that plateau goes right down to that. And then that small pasture is in between farms and goes out to the main road. And the third thing that I learned last night is this. The debate for the town lines here was settled in 1790. And in the book, it describes as to where the actual line that sits now is and the proposed line from point A to point B. So what I did was I took and drew lines on a map, and it does give us a very small sliver to work with, which is this side of the mountain. If this is not actually it over here, there's only one other small possibility. Not too far off from where they started to split the line, but it's marshy. I know that. So we're going back up to that plateau, and we're going to take a poke around. I'm not going to last out here today. It's single digits with the wind. Extremely cold. I'm very warm right now because I'm dressed properly, but once I slow down, I'm going to cool off. So let's head up to the top there, take a look around, and see if there's anything that stands out. So this is our painfully obvious cart path that leads up to our plateau and comes up from the small pasture and then out to the old main road. So I'm gonna look around and see if there's any other signs of people doing things here. The more I thought about it last night, the more it made sense for this location. And really thinking about it, again, it doesn't imply what kind of mine it was, so we don't know what their approach was as to pulling the resources out of here. And the fact being that this happened over 200 years ago, that is a long time for the land to shift up here. Don't forget, we've had some major floods over that time. The hurricane of '38, that could have changed the entire face of this mountain over here. Maybe that's why it has not been brought back up over the course of 200 years, because it's been forgotten. Nobody else has found it and brought it back to light. And you guys know, you went with me, circling the entire side of the mountain here, inside that sliver that I pointed out where it had to have happened. This is the only place that a cart path brought us up to that was flat. So who's to say that whatever they took out of here isn't what created this plateau? You know what I mean? Like this chunk. It's just very hard to say, not knowing, but it is the most intriguing and peculiar spot around. We'll poke around, see if anything else stands out like that split stone yesterday, and that's not very far from here. So that is all I have for today. I'm gonna let this area breathe for a while. As you guys have seen, and we know that sometimes it takes years to figure things out and find them, because of what we learn in between as we go. There's been many sites here you've seen in the past that we are like, it took 3 years to find it, because we learned something somewhere else along the way. And these last 3 videos, I've definitely learned a lot more about this mountain because I had never spent so much time over here because it's so rugged. So I'm gonna hike my way out of here because that wind is just tearing at me. And I'm quite content with the hike today. Well, it's the next day. I was thinking about what I had said about that one little sliver I could not get to because it's all swampy and marsh. Not too far off from where they started to split the line. I couldn't let it rest. That's where I'm heading right now. I actually had to come up over that part of the ridge line to go down where I'm hoping there's a little plateau, but the rest of it is all wetland, water, marsh. And if this turns out to be a dead end, then no doubt the plateau we had found has got to be it. So this is what I'm coming down and through. And let me tell you, it is cold today, single digits, and that wind just makes it really, really brisk. To touch on a couple comments in the first videos, possibility of it being a surface mine? Absolutely. Possibility of it being a quarry? Highly unlikely. The quarries around here are painfully obvious, and it is not a mistaken phrase in the book using the word mine, because quarry is mentioned frequently. And no, I don't expect to see a tunnel going into the side of the mountain. That's why I said I don't expect a cartoon-like, you know, entrance boarded up or anything like that. I'm looking for the residuals and leftovers from the mine. That's the other thing. If they were quarrying granite out of here, it wouldn't have stated in the book that they ran out of resources, because there's no shortage of it. Well, interesting. See the wall behind me? I just popped in from over there. It comes up, squares off. So the suspicions I've had for some time that that wetland at one point in time was pasture or field, I think is right on. This wall squares off for that area, and when you look at it, you can always tell when a field or pasture has been flooded. You can see down here on the other end, the wall goes right down into water. So that square is confined to that area. I know there's nothing else over here for walls, that is. All right, back. It's easy to see why that lower area flooded out. Look at the runoff. And probably when they paved the road out there and built it up, it just choked it all off, and that water was going nowhere. Well, I've come up in here to get out of the wind for a bit before I head out, go home. Where we just went, I'm glad I did it. It confirms the tail end of that farm is in fact under the wetlands that I've seen from the other side many a times. Clearly that wall came out, squared off, right back in. As for the location of the mine, I guess it's still yet to be undetermined, but I really do think that plateau is the best possible candidate at this moment. Who knows, maybe someday we'll discover that was not it. But there is one thing for certain, something did happen there, and I can doodle it down on my map, and maybe in the future, because as time goes on, we learn more. We find things later on because of what we've learned in the meantime. Who knows? Maybe we'll just come across something someday up here exploring and go, whoa. But until that day, I'm gonna keep getting outside, keep exploring, keeping the wonder alive inside, and sharing it with you. All right, everybody. See you soon. Until next time, enjoy your not Thursday.